What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode with your boy Phrankleen. Welcome to Storytime. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. Storytime is basically the segment where people send me their stories to my email at foodchannel1960 at gmail.com. Look in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, today's episode is a wife gave a estate to her family and left me hanging, right? This brother sent this to me a few days ago and he wants me to, share the story. But before I crack on, for those of you that have been watching me for a minute, so I recently set up the Phrankleen podcast, okay? So basically, for over time, people have been banging out messages and saying, Phrankleen, oh, why don't you have a podcast? You know, it would be a lot easier if we're commuting to or from work, or we are doing, other personal stuff. We can listen to your podcast and stuff, or convert some of your, stuff. So maybe sometimes not everyone wants to come on YouTube. I get that. And also it allows me to have a further reach in terms of my content creation and stuff. So I decided to set up the Phrankleen podcast. All right, if you look in the description, you see the details for that. But in order to get a podcast going, I'm going to need a few equipments. At the very least, I've done my research, in the interest of good production and quality. I'm not trying to break the bank here, but at the very least, you got to have some things in place, to have a very good, that you're listening with your headphones or whatever. It's nice. The quality, the audio, forms a major part of, running a podcast. Now, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need your support. Okay, there's a GoFundMe link that I set up. I've put, details in there. Feel free to ask me questions. You can push me an email, via the GoFundMe link or via my foodchannel1960 at gmail.com. You can ask me questions about, the podcast. And I will definitely do my very best to answer you. So I'm trying to buy the necessary equipment, upgrade my laptop, and the necessary things that will help me, kick off with the production of my podcast. And there'll be a lot of juicy content that I will be able to bang out, and for the benefit of yourselves who support the brand Phrankleen. So that's that. If you feel like supporting me, I really appreciate, just click on the GoFundMe link in the description below, or look in the comment section. It probably will be pinned at the top, and show your love. And if you don't want to use the GoFundMe, you can also do so via PayPal. I've got a PayPal link, or Cash App. If you have a Cash App, I've got that set up. Just say for the podcast, okay? And I'll make sure every donation is well reconciled and well tabulated and stuff, and I'll let you know in the end when everything is procured and set up. I'll be able to thank everybody involved. That's that. Okay. Woof, that's a bit. Now, so today's story. So this gentleman, okay, got married to his lovely wife, a few years ago, and he emphasized on the fact that the marriage was great as far as he's concerned, just the odd occasional friction here and there. But then he did highlight, I must say, that over time they met each other, whilst in back in Nigeria, and they both decided to relocate to the UK. So they have 2 children. Wife worked within IT, and whilst he did a bit of IT and stuff, he later decided to, start working in along the lines of finance/IT, as he emphasized. But then, as life goes on, he's got 2 young children. And then he said, as life went on, wife developed health problems. And basically, it was one fateful Sunday. He said he would never forget this. She found a lump in her, left breast, and then it felt like something really small. By the way, I'll just digress very quickly. If you're watching this, I'm not a medical expert. If you're female or a male, you see something really strange, lumps and all these things that shouldn't be on your body, make you feel, make sure, you quickly go to your doctor, okay? Because for some of these things, hopefully when you find something really strange early, nobody wants these things, but if you catch it very early, the chances of surviving, I think it's up there with oxygen, right? So anyway, they found something, but she was like, oh, it's nothing, and stuff, kind of glossed over it. So he said at the time, he said to her that, babe, you know, let's go to the doctors and stuff. But she just like, don't worry about it, you know, I'll be okay, blah, blah, blah. And that's that. So, but then months went past, and then one night she told him again that, look, you know that lump that I said to you, just that tiny little lump, it feels like that thing's gotten bigger, just towards the underneath part of her left breast and stuff. And then, you know, and he insisted, and she was starting to feel a bit funny. So long and short, they discovered that she had, you know, breast cancer and stuff, and which was quite devastating and shattering for the family. And he said as soon as the chemo treatment kicked in and all that stuff, it just started draining her energy and everything. And he said at the time, you know, she had to come off work because she couldn't, started losing her hair, lost so much energy, and this really changed, I can imagine, absolutely affected the dynamics of their family. They've got 2 children. He was working, and she had to stop working because she couldn't cope. Now, I'm going somewhere. So this guy, he emphasized particularly that over time, he was like, Phrankleen, I know this is an email. I swear by my life. I swear by the life of my children. You know, he was basically, what I gleaned from that, he was doing his utmost so that me as a reader of that email can believe him, at least, that he's telling the truth, that he had never cheated on his wife, or there was no like catastrophic situation, the odd argument here and there, like as couples do. And there was a time they had a major argument, which wasn't anything serious. It was around finance. But then he emphasized that he was involved in a car accident at some point. So there was an insurance, you know, compensation that he got. So wife said they should use that money to put in some particular investment here in the UK. But he had other ideas, right? So he insisted that, no, I'm going to take this bread, I'm going to take it to the motherland, Nigeria, and invest. Investment is investment. So he wasn't all that, you know, gravitating towards the idea of doing that. She wanted him to. So they kind of had a bit of a clash. No, I'm not. And then, you know, he said he went ahead and did those investments, but she wasn't supportive. He didn't understand why. But anyway, he ignored it and they moved on. Okay, and then his family's kind of like, you know, usual crazy stuff. He got involved in the investment and tried to take advantage and stuff like that. And then he quickly, you know, was around property, real estate, so he quickly cut their hands off and stuff. But the wife was weaponizing all that and saying, "Oh, I asked you to do this in the UK," and then referring to another family friend that had made money from that investment. Anyways, basically, the wife was insisting that he could have made a lot more bread by investing in the UK. So they put that aside, they carried on with their life. So her dealing with the cancer, chemo and all that, changed the dynamics of their whole family, like I said earlier. And then, of course, they thought she was going to beat the cancer and stuff, and unfortunately she didn't. And that pretty much obliterated her existence as a human being. She died untimely, and which, you know, I'm very sorry to hear that. You know, nobody deserves to die of that very deadly disease. But then she passed away, and he was left with the 2 children. You know, it became a single dad, and, you know, life changes automatically at that point. And he said, whilst all of that, she was in sick bed, going to hospital, doing, you know, losing a lot of weight, lost her hair. He was always by her side. He did his very best as a man. He affected it himself. He was stressed. He had to be there for the kids. And eventually she died. And then he said, he emphasized, there was a bit of a friction with the family. He said he doesn't want any elaborate, you know, like a burial ceremony, because it's devastating enough that he's lost his wife. He just wants something amicable. Let's lay her to rest quietly, and let's just, you know, because he's still grieving and he's unable to gain closure just like that. He's got the children. So anyway, eventually they came to a common, you know, agreement, and they did that. But he understood that some members of a family weren't particularly happy. They wanted to have some kind of elaborate. And I've always said this, you know, I digress. I've always said this. I don't understand the essence of these amplifying burial ceremonies and, you know, having elaborate parties and drinking and boozing and stuff. To me, it's just pointless. It's silly. But hey, each to their own. So the long and short was, he then found out shortly afterwards that his wife, when I say use the word estate, what she's got in the bank and all that stuff, and then he uncovered the fact that the wife actually had investments and all that. So what really shattered these brother was a lot of things that this woman had that was absolutely kept away from him. His wife of, he said, been married for about 15 years of their life. They've known each other for roughly 20. So that's a long time, right? He then found out, I mean, fair enough, she had investments for her 2 children, okay? But she handed over the estate to the man's family, particularly her dad, mom and brothers and stuff being in charge of the estate. Basically, he said he found out that there was a property in here in the UK in the children's name. He never knew that his wife bought a buy-to-let property, which is basically a property. He said it's a 3-bedroom house that was converted and which she uses, rent out to tenants. She never told him. And also some shares and some other monies and parcel of lands in Nigeria and stuff. So these, on top of the fact that his wife died abruptly, absolutely shattered his brother to smithereens. Like, wow. So it's like the family just kind of put up, they kind of drew this battle line type thing, and he's asking questions, and they even threatening him that they might file for custody of the children. And he said he's never had any issues. But he did say, though, that he remembers from day one that his wife's mom never really liked him from day dot. But she wasn't exactly confrontational, but always cold, would just do the fake smile and all that. So they've hijacked the passing away of their daughter. They've weaponized that against him. And it's like he said, all the siblings that used to be really nice to him and laugh and smile, and it's like they've all turned out to be 3-headed dragons. They don't want to have anything to do with him. And it's like, oh, my sister's this, or sister's that, blah, 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 blah. Oh, they even said, somebody slyly said, oh, when you found out the first time, oh, you could have done better as a man. But you knew when she had the lump the first time, you could have been pragmatic, but you left it anyway. I mean, what does that say about you? Perhaps you didn't really love her. And that cut through this brother like a knife, because he told me, he said, Phrankleen, as I type this email, I'm in tears. And I can understand, man, it's painful. She's gone. You got 2 young children, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And so some people are advising him, just leave it and forge on with life. And he said some people are telling him that he needs to, because he's in charge of the children, he needs to take over the estate and to make sure that the estate, of which of course is gone to the children, are well protected and all that stuff. I'm trying here not to talk ill of the dead, even though I'm not naming anybody, even though this is all anonymous. But there's a part of my brain where I'm trying to tread carefully, not to come across as like I'm bashing, because I know somebody's passed away from this. So I'm desperately trying to be very careful with my choice of words. But having said that, I don't know, it's a bit weird that your partner would just abruptly do that, if you get what I'm saying. So it's absolutely weird. I'll be very, very honest with you. So I don't know. So it's painful, I get it, but I don't know what could have built up to that point that you would hide so much, and then your husband, who was by you until the last minute, and he said they exchanged very close words and stuff. She pretty much died in his arms, and you then found out that her estate and all that stuff was handed over to her family, mom and dad and brothers and stuff, to be in charge for the future of her children. The idea of putting something in place for the future of your young children, I align with. That's fine. any sensible person, man or woman, should do that if they can. But that he wouldn't even trust you enough. Perhaps maybe she thought if she handed them to you, you might end up going to marry another woman, and maybe things might get tampered with, and the estate, the property ownership might get transferred to the wrong beneficiaries or something. Maybe. I think it's a bit extreme, but like I say, what do you think, man? So that's the story. The brother was asking me what would do. The only thing I'm going to say in close is, please, whilst I understand that it's painful, it's gut-wrenching, it's heartbreaking, please, let her rest in peace, okay? And particularly because of your young children. Don't draw the battle lines with the family, okay? Just make sure, the only thing I would say is, if the father, her father, your father-in-law, mother-in-law, and your wife's brothers or whatever are been put in charge of the estate, just make sure that, he said when the children turn 25, things will be passed on to them. Great stuff. Just make sure that measures are put in place. The only thing I would do as a father is I can get a lawyer involved to make sure that those people are also held accountable. Because in the event, in the situation where you've got like a property which is out there for rent, and they will be handling with the rentals, and I don't know if there's any extra monies left and stuff in the accounts. You want to make sure that they are not abusing their position and they're not lining their own pockets. Okay, I'm not going to be fighting for that estate for personal gain. No, the only thing I'm interested in, okay, you've been asked to stay in charge, that's fine. But I've also got to make sure that you don't then take advantage of that situation for your own selfish gain. So as long as 100% of that estate, whatever your wife left, goes to your children, then I'll just say to you, brother, move on with the rest of your life, and I wish you well, okay? Anyway, that's me done. What do you think? I would really like to hear from you guys. It's your boy Phrankleen. Hit the like button. Don't forget to smash on the subscribe button and bang on the bell button. Select all so you can get alert when I do videos like this and when I'm on a live stream, okay? And like I say, the Phrankleen podcast, please look at the GoFundMe link below in the description and in the comment section. I would like your support. I'd like your help. If you want to do beyond that, you can support via Cash App or via PayPal. All the links are in the description. All right, I want to get the podcast going and put out more juicy content and stuff. What do you think? What do you think about the situation? Is there something missing? There's a part of me that's saying there must be a reason. Like, that's like a really, really strange way to behave. But I'm treading carefully here. It's your boy Phrankleen. Let's keep that conversation going on below, and I'll definitely catch you in the next one. Peace and love. Bye now.